I don't have a huge position, but I love the idea of the company and I think it's going to be a great investment. And that is the best Canadian small cap stock I've come by in a very long time, called Aduro Clean Technologies, which is revolutionizing how we look at the plastics industry. There is no other company with technology like this. And I just wanted to provide some brief updates because, I mean, over the last 6 months, this company has done exceptionally well. And we're finally starting to see a little bit of a pullback after the recent reverse split. And I just want to talk about what's happening with the company, where are we going in the future. If that is a conversation you appreciate on the path to financial independence, to perhaps one day retire early, consider hitting that like button, because we've been following this story basically since we were like, I think $50 million market cap. Like, we've come up a long way in the last couple of years since we've been following this story, right? And I've gotten a decent little amount of shares in this still, and I love just kind of checking in on it periodically, because the US recently made a critical shift in its position on the global plastics treaty. Negotiations for the UN treaty began in March 2022 with the goal of ending plastic pollution. The treaty is expected to be finalized by 2025, and throughout these negotiations, the U.S. has historically aligned itself with oil-producing nations and industry groups that focus on waste management and recycling rather than production limits. However, the U.S. has now diverged from this group, joining the High Ambition Coalition of over 60 countries, including other major Western economies such as Canada, the U.K., Switzerland, and France. And what's going to end up happening here is people start looking for cleaner ways, better ways of dealing with plastic. As many of you know, 90% of plastics end up in a landfill. They're going to be turning their heads to Aduro Clean Technologies. Why? Because this company is literally a standalone company with hydrochemolytic upcycling. We've talked about this process time and time again, compared to the competitors out there like PureCycle and many of the others that just cannot deal with what Aduro can deal with in the multitude of plastics. And I think there's a fun little chart in here that if I can find it real quick, I still like to iterate the fact that, you know, I think the waste comes down to what, like 5% is non-recoverable for circularity, and you're able to turn it back into oils that can be used back in plastics and fuels and so much more, right? Like, this is the dream of every company that deals with plastics, which is almost all of them. Tire company, like, I mean, auto parts, all the way down to food distribution, to the major oil giants this company right now is in its test phases with, right? Like, when I keep telling you guys to watch the stages of engagement here, this is the critical faculty to, and I told you, like, there's two kind of investors here: the people that want the early risk, that want to get in now, that recognize that there's massive potential here, and they're willing to take a bit extra risk to get the outsized performance. And then there's the people that are going to sideline it and wait until we kind of end up in the collaboration phase, finally solidifying into commercialization, because this company has partnerships with some of the largest oil companies on the planet. They have partnerships with some of the largest food distribution companies, and when this technology gets proven to them that, hey, this is a scalable, viable technology to greatly reduce your ESG impact and, you know, greatly reduce, waste plastics rather than letting them end up in a landfill, this thing is going to ramp up. Like, the compound effect coming into 2026 and 2027 is going to be nuts. Because right now we're in the midst of 2024, and I told you guys, come 2025 is the pivotal moment for this company, and it's just so entertaining to keep an eye on. And as we take a look at the news, the only thing that's been going on for the last couple months is kind of in this introduction to an uplisting to get access to a higher threshold of investors, right? Because some investors just will not invest kind of into OTC markets or the Canadian, smaller cap, the security exchange markets, right? But if we take a look here, this was the most recent news that Aduro Clean Technologies announces effective date of share consolidation and conversion of Class B special warrants. I mean, you can read into the specific details here, but effectively as of August 20th, we saw that kind of reverse split go on, which essentially we read into it on the basis of 3 1/4 pre-consolidation shares for one post-consolidation share. And that's where we're getting the stock price today. So obviously the company looks like it's also heading into, raising more capital as well. But this is going to be fascinating to see, right? With the heavy insider ownership that continue to hold strong, the fact that we've been getting good upward momentum with a solid shareholder base. Like I said, we are on the pivotal edge of this company, and the valuation is still fairly reasonable if you believe that this future, is going to be exponential. I honestly think this is a multi-billion-dollar market cap potential here, and this is just one man's opinion. Obviously, this is not financial advice, but I will pass the question off to you. I'd love to know what you think in that comment section below as we wait to see what the uplisting news looks like.